What if the most terrifying moments of your past aren't actually over, but are living inside your nervous system, playing on a loop that your conscious mind can't switch off? In the United States today, nearly 15 million adults are living in a body that feels like a war zone, trapped in a physiological red alert long after the threat has vanished. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on the silent epidemic of post traumatic stress disorder, exploring the revolutionary science of how the brain gets stuck in survival mode and providing a definitive 30-day roadmap to finally reclaim your life from the grip of the past. To understand post traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, we must first look at it not as a mental weakness, but as a biological injury. In the United States, about 6% of the population will experience PTSD at some point in their lives. While we often associate this condition with combat veterans, the reality in America is much broader. It affects survivors of car accidents, natural disasters, domestic violence, and sudden loss. When you experience a traumatic event, your brain's primary goal is survival. The amygdala, your internal alarm system, goes into overdrive, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline. In a healthy response, once the danger passes, the prefrontal cortex, the logical part of the brain, steps in to say, "We are safe now." But with PTSD, that off switch is broken. The memory of the trauma doesn't get filed away in the past. Instead, it remains live, causing the brain to react to everyday stresses as if they were life-threatening emergencies. The importance of addressing PTSD in the US population cannot be overstated. It is a leading driver of chronic health issues, ranging from cardiovascular disease to autoimmune disorders, because the body cannot survive in a state of permanent high cortisol without breaking down. Living with PTSD means experiencing intrusive memories, where the event flashes back with such vividness that you can smell the air and feel the heat of that moment. It means hypervigilance, where you are constantly scanning the room for exits or startling at the sound of a car backfiring. It often leads to emotional numbing, where the brain, exhausted by the intensity of fear, shuts down the ability to feel joy or connection. This creates a devastating cycle of isolation that affects families, workplaces, and communities across the nation. Overcoming PTSD is about retraining the nervous system to recognize safety. It requires moving from a state of survival to a state of regulation. This is a journey that involves both the mind and the body. Modern therapies in the US, such as EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and somatic experiencing, focus on unfreezing the trauma trapped in the nervous system. By combining professional support with consistent daily habits, it is possible to dampen the alarm system and restore the logical brain's control. It is about teaching your body that the now is different from the then. To help you begin this journey of reclamation, we have developed the 30-day PTSD Recovery Challenge. This plan is designed to move you through the 3 stages of healing: safety and stabilization, remembrance and mourning, and finally, reconnection and integration. Phase 1, days 1 through 10, establishing biological safety. The goal of the first 10 days is to calm the overactive amygdala and provide the body with the physical resources it needs to heal. Day 1, the grounding anchor. Practice the 5 yours 3 2 1 technique. Identify 5 things you see, 4 you can touch, 3 you hear, 2 you smell, and 1 you can taste. This pulls your brain out of a flashback and into the present moment. Day 2, vagus nerve activation. The vagus nerve is the brake for your stress response. Spend 5 minutes doing box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Do this 3 times today. Day 3, the sleep sanctuary. Trauma thrives on exhaustion. In the US, blue light and caffeine often worsen PTSD sleep disturbances. Turn off all screens 90 minutes before bed and use a weighted blanket if available to provide deep pressure touch that calms the nervous system. Day 4, anti-inflammatory fuel. Chronic stress causes systemic inflammation. Today, eliminate sugar and focus on high omega-3 foods like salmon or walnuts. Your brain needs healthy fats to repair the neural pathways damaged by high cortisol. Day 5, cold exposure. A short 30-second cold shower can shock the nervous system into a reset, stimulating the parasympathetic response. It forces the brain to focus on the immediate physical sensation rather than intrusive thoughts. Day 6. Movement for stagnation. Trauma is often stored in the fascia and muscles. Engage in 20 minutes of rhythmic movement, like walking or swimming. The bilateral movement helps the brain process stuck information. Day 7. The digital detox. Social media can be a minefield of triggers. Spend today away from the news cycle and social feeds to allow your sensory system to rest. Day 8. Hydration and electrolytes. Brain fog in PTSD is often exacerbated by dehydration. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water, adding a pinch of sea salt for adrenal support. Day 9. Identifying triggers. Spend today observing, without judgment, what sounds, smells, or words make your heart race. Knowledge is the first step toward power. Day 10. Nature therapy. In the US, could we spend too much time in artificial environments? Spend 30 minutes in a park or forest. The fractal patterns in nature have a documented calming effect on the human brain. Phase 2. Days 11 through 20. Emotional processing and dampening the alarm. Now that the body is slightly more stable, we begin to address the food noise of trauma, the intrusive thoughts. Day 11. Journaling the somatic experience. Don't write about the event yet. Write about where you feel tension in your body. Is it your chest? Your jaw? Awareness releases the grip. Day 12. Weighted grounding. Use a grounding stone or a heavy object in your pocket. Whenever you feel floaty or dissociated, squeeze it to remind your brain you are here. Day 13. The power of no. PTSD often comes with fawn responses, people pleasing to stay safe. Practice setting one small boundary today. Day 14. Magnesium supplementation. Stress depletes magnesium, which is the calming mineral. Incorporate magnesium-rich foods like spinach and dark chocolate, or consider a supplement after consulting a professional. Day 5. Safe place visualization. Spend 10 minutes closing your eyes and building a mental safe room in vivid detail. This gives the amygdala a place to go when things get overwhelming. Day 16. Creative release. Trauma is often stored in the nonverbal right brain. Paint, draw, or build something. Don't worry about the quality. Focus on the expression. Day 17. Mirror work. Look at yourself and say, I am here, I am safe, I am in the present. This helps rebuild the self-image that trauma often shatters. Day 18. Scent conditioning. Use a specific essential oil, like lavender or frankincense, only when you are feeling calm. Eventually, the scent alone will act as a chemical trigger for relaxation. Day 19. Forgiveness of the body. Many PTSD survivors feel betrayed by their body's reactions. Spend today thanking your body for its survival instincts, even if they are currently overactive. Day 20. Connection. Reach out to one trusted person. You don't have to talk about the trauma. Just engage in a normal conversation to break the cycle of isolation. Phase 3. Days 21 through 30. Reclaiming the future. The final 10 days are about moving from surviving to thriving and integrating the past into a coherent life story. Day 21. Resistance training. Lifting weights can help survivors feel strong and capable, countering the feeling of helplessness associated with trauma. Day 22. Cognitive reframing. When a negative thought appears, ask, is this a fact or is this a trauma response? Labeling the thought takes away its power. Day 23. Service to others. Helping someone else can shift the focus from internal pain to external purpose. Volunteer for an hour or help a neighbor. Day 24. Sunshine and vitamin D. Low vitamin D is linked to higher PTSD symptom severity. Get 15 minutes of direct sunlight to support mood regulation. Day 25. The narrative rewrite. Write down your story, but end it with where you are now. A survivor who is actively healing. Day 26. Mindful eating. Focus entirely on the taste and texture of your food. This prevents the mindless eating or restricted eating that often accompanies PTSD. Day 27. Laughter therapy. Watch a comedy or spend time with someone who makes you laugh. Laughter releases endorphins that are the natural enemies of cortisol. Day 28. Future goal setting. Identify one thing you want to achieve in the next 6 months that has nothing to do with your past. Day 29. Gratitude for resilience. List 10 things your trauma cannot take away from you. Day 30. The integration ceremony. Acknowledge how far you've come. You are not the same person who started this challenge. You are a person with a regulated nervous system and a reclaimed future. In summary, post traumatic stress disorder is a profound challenge, but it is not a life sentence. In the United States, we are lucky to live in an era where the neurobiology of trauma is finally understood. By combining the top 10 brain foods, the omega 3s, the magnesium, and the antioxidants, with the daily practices of grounding and regulation, you can move out of the shadow of the past. Your brain is plastic, it can change, it can heal, and it can find peace again. You are not broken. You are a human being who has survived, and now you are a human being who is learning to live again. Healing from PTSD is a marathon, not a sprint. By taking these small daily steps, you are rebuilding the neural pathways of safety and resilience. You have the power to turn the alarm off.